Hello, my friends, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Today we're going to do something a little different. Sometimes the hardest part of this is figuring out what to talk about. And today, instead of just pulling up some random article or whatever and kind of half-assing my way through it, I wrote something out, and we'll see how well that really goes. When you're doing this, it can be really hard to resist the desire to pick something that is going to work strong in the algorithm that people are going to want to watch, and just easily get out there and entertain everybody, or so you hope, or at least bring attention. And sometimes the hard part of that for me is when I feel like some of the things that the algorithm would pick up are really kind of getting overdone. I probably have a lower tolerance for repeated talking points than some people. There are plenty of YouTubers out here who are really good at picking these topics and, just going on and on and on about them as long as they feel it is necessary for them to talk about them. I don't mean that as any kind of insult, because let's face it, they do a fantastic job at what they do, and the audience that they talk to enjoys it. And that's what matters, is that they are talking about what they want to talk about, and that the audience continues to enjoy it, and they continue to grow, and so they do a great job. It's just, unfortunately, it's not something that I can do myself, because I'm just, like I said, I don't have that same kind of attention span. But at the same time, part of the reason they do so well is that what they say, people feel represented by. They see somebody who has all these people listening to them, and it makes them feel represented because they are not alone in their thoughts. There are other people out there who share these thoughts, not just the person talking to them on the screen, but the other people listening to them share the same thoughts for the most part. And that does make a difference. And it's a different type of representation than what we've been getting in Hollywood, or especially in game development, where the people see not what somebody looks like. I mean, just look at the huge variety of VTubers, for example. You look at the huge variety of just actual YouTubers in the variety of content. You don't have to have somebody who even has a presence on screen in many cases to have something that hits well with people, because people have a tendency to pick up on thoughts and identify with ideas just as much, if not more, than they identify with actual appearances. That's something that's lost in gaming today, is just simply creating a character, creating a story, creating a world. And instead of starting with what you want them to represent, starting with what they are. Because these characters in these games, for the most part, are more than just representatives to us. They are goals. They are people that we can see ourselves living as, except for, hopefully, I would think, people who decide to use them as an excuse to kill the entire world. That point, it's just a fun fantasy. And I'm hopeful that they aren't actually identifying with being mass murderers. But who knows? Maybe some are. Let's face it, the world's full of all kinds of people. But game devs don't seem to understand that how they make people feel, what motivations they give their characters, how their characters act is far more important even than how their characters look. But these are also a group of people, at least in high-end game dev, AAA studios and so forth. They're people who are so focused on the appearance that they're spending all this money, these graphically high-fidelity games, and then not optimizing them. So they look pretty on the outside, but you open the hood and you got a goddamn lawnmower running the game. So when it moves, it's gorgeous, but it doesn't get very far, and neither do the characters, because the characters are the same thing. You have a character that's supposed to represent these people that the devs feel are underrepresented or overly abused by whatever system they're obsessed with, and instead of putting an actual heart in these characters, they literally just put in a lawnmower. And then they wonder why people don't enjoy the game. You just have a bunch of noise with some kind of choppy graphics, and nobody's happy because it's not actually representative of a human being. It's representative of a bunch of ideas that are poorly cobbled together and then presented in something that's supposed to be a game. And worse, at the best, these characters get an illusion of choice where they can kind of make a choice, but it's only a choice in, do I sound like I am really cheerful, or do I sound like I am cheerful with a frown? And it's just not conducive to the way gaming works. They have lost their ability to imbue the human spirit into their characters, and they've lost their ability to imbue the games with their actual magic of gaming. I mean, overall, in the AAA sphere, the number of games that really come out and feel like a real world are become fewer and far between. And to some degree, I have to wonder if maybe that's my cynicism. But at the same time, I step back and look at the state of the games industry, and it's more or less true. It's unfortunate, but it's true. But it does seem like they so often get hung up with the idea that if they can make these characters look, if they can make this world look as close to one-to-one to reality as they can, it's like they think if they can make the character look as real as possible, that maybe people will accept the message that they're trying to send through that character because it looks like them. So obviously it must think like them. So if the character thinks this way, then as a person, they're supposed to think the same way as that character, right? Honestly, I get out that sentence and I wonder, did anybody follow me to the end? Because honestly, I think I lost myself halfway through. And that's the frustrating part, is I don't know that they know what they're trying to do, because I don't. Today's writers aren't clever enough to hide these messages within the game because they don't know how to be subtle. They don't understand how to start with where they want to end and work their way backwards to where they are in a believable manner. They skip the in-between and assume that since they got to the end somehow, people are just going to be okay with it. The missing component in all of this is actual talent, actual introspection, understanding themselves as well as understanding the gamers that they're trying to create these games for. Because so many of them really just aren't gamers themselves. That's something I'm sure everybody's heard 100 times by now. But it's also, it's one of the big things. They're following these rules made by people who created the entire industry. And because they don't have that same drive to create something of their own, they can't. They're not capable. They're only capable of playing within the rule set that they've already been given, without the ability to change things, to find this idea that, maybe we can do this thing that's never been done before, or maybe we can do this thing that's been done before, but we can try to do it in a new way and break all the rules that have been set down before. There is no innovation and people begin to lose interest. You can only go so far with the same tricks before people begin to be able to predict them. And that's kind of where we are now. We're just in a spot where we're seeing the same thing over and over and over again. We're in the disco era of gaming, quite literally. Every song has the same beat and the same synthesizer working it, and everybody's getting bored. I think to some degree, even the game devs are getting bored, and I think that's showing in their work that they've produced. And worse, they're trying to live on the accolades of the people from before them. The number of games that come out that say from the producers of, or from the studios that brought you, or from the people who made, instead of trying to say something about what they're going to make. It's always about what they did make. It's always about the past and never about the future, which is kind of where they're all stuck anyways. They're all stuck in the past about who suffered more at whose hands and who got the least of what and who was enslaved by who, and never about how are we going to make our future better. You can only go about looking where to lay the blame for so long before you run out of blame. Just because you figured out who's to blame for everything doesn't mean that automatically fixes the present. Sometimes you have to forget about that and look at working forward, which is part of what the games industry has stopped doing. Like I said, they've stopped really innovating. And I haven't played with VR at all just because I have glasses, and most of the VR sets won't even accept my prescription because let's face it, I'm pretty fucking blind. But I don't really feel like VR's made any real progression in the last few years. Overall, we feel very stuck. And I'm really tired of being stuck. And that really is where I am right now in regards to even just my own content creation. I don't want to be stuck in the same rut. I don't want to, just come here and pull some article and read it out and give you my opinion and move on. Because let's face it, that gets boring for both of us. And because I am so picky and so selective about what I'm willing to devote my energy into, it can be really goddamn hard to find an article that really strikes anything in me, that makes me want to say anything of interest or importance. I don't want to get into the same situation that the game devs are. I want to make something new and I want to figure out how to do it. I mean, that's not to say I won't ever just grab an article, especially if I find one that really gets me going, but I don't want that to be the only thing that I do either. So I'm in the process of figuring that out, while at the same time pondering the overall state of gaming. It's always a fun place to be, But today I figured I would just go ahead and, just ramble something out, see how that went, and just give you guys an idea of where my head is and some of the things that kind of pop out of it from time to time. Let me know what you guys think. When it comes to gaming, what's something that helps you identify with a game character? Is it appearance? Is it something that they do? Is there anything about appearance that helps you? Is there anything specific you'd like to see in a character that makes you go, oh, yeah, that kind of works? I mean, other than attractiveness level, everybody talks about how attractive characters need to be, but they don't really talk about the looks because attractiveness is such a subjective thing. But I mean, do you prefer them tall? Do you prefer them short? Do you like it when they have blue eyes? I don't know. Say something. Is there something that you have to say about anything I've said in this video? Because let's face it, it's a kind of weird one. But let me know. And I look forward to reading your comments. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. If you really liked it, you can feel free to share it around, and I will catch you later.